help overcome the fear of a single source spec by committing yourself to a price. Now, I don't like to write a spec that names one manufacturer and then leave it closed at that, because even if you don't jack up your price, at least you aren't going to cut it down to the minimum. So I write 2 or 3 names into my specs. If you use this strategy of quoting prices, make sure that the prices you quote represent all indirect costs as well. For instance, if I'm trying to make an evaluation between the cost of a steel frame versus a concrete frame, that steel frame may appear a lot cheaper until I consider that the steel frame also needs fireproofing and maybe a sprinkler system and the concrete frame doesn't. So make sure you help your client evaluate all the indirect costs involved. Another strategy is that you must train your salesmen. It's not enough that your salesmen understand your product. They also have to understand how the construction industry works. Now, I can't tell you how frustrating it is for me to have to, I'm a consulting specifier, and once in a while an architect will say, Mickey, I've picked this product, I want you to write a spec. And I'll call up the local sales representative and I'll invite him into my office. And he comes in and it's clear he's never talked to an architect in his life. You've got to build a relationship of trust and confidence, because a relationship like that will, in the final analysis, will be more important than the purely technical benefits of your presentation. You've got to train your salesmen in the professional selling skills. You know, most salesmen talk too much. They don't know when to shut up and start listening. Salesmen are always telling me, you know, but my product's the best. Or maybe they'll say, my product's the cheapest. And they do that without listening to find out if that's what I'm looking for. There are lots of other criteria that could be more important to me than merely price or quality. Salesmen who are construction industry professionals get invited back to my office time and again. Another strategy is that you must provide good specifications and good technical support. You've got to make sure that your product information is prepared in a way in which that facilitates product evaluation, product comparison, product selection, product use, and specification. You know, I sometimes have to write a spec for a product, and I look at the manufacturer's literature, and I can't find what it, I can't make any sense of it. So what I end up writing, it might as well be an exercise in creative writing. I did some work recently for a company that manufactures monumental metal stairs. And they came to me and they said, you know, we don't think specs are very important. We just look at the specs that people write for our products. And everybody's writing something different, and almost none of the architects out there understand anything about our product. So what's the point of writing specs? Well, I looked at this and I told the manufacturer, yeah, well, what do you expect? I can't know everything about the construction industry. You don't give me any technical information. You don't give me a guide spec, so how do you expect me to be able to specify your product in a way that makes any sense? So what we did is we've developed technical bulletins, and we've developed guide specifications, and we've trained their sales force in how to use these documents. And this company now says that they get a much higher success rate in taking the inquiries, turning those inquiries into specs, and the specs into orders. How would you like to be able to pick your own competition? Let me tell you how to do this. Don't be afraid to identify good competitors, because if you identify 2 or 3 good competitors, you can frequently encourage the architect or engineer to limit the specification to just those few firms. I'll give you an example of an upward coiling door. And I had a project that required 20 doors, and so I called in a salesman and described the project, and he said, you know, I'll be glad to help you out here, but let me tell you what's happened on the last 4 projects we've done together. Do you realize that on 3 out of the 4 projects that I've helped you write the specs for, you've accepted the substitution of somebody else's product? And he began to point out significant features and functions and benefits that were different between his product and the one I'd been accepting. And he said to me, if you want to specify that other product, go ahead. But if you want the quality level of my product, let's do this. Here are 2 of my competitors. They're both available here in town. They have pricing similar to mine, and I don't mind competing with them, because I know if I compete with them, I'll have a fair shot at it. And now that's a true professional, and I think it's been very successful for him. In summary, I want to say that building product sales are one of the toughest types of sales to make. The risks are very high. The risks include the cost of developing a product, of bringing it to market, of promoting it, and then losing your sale to a substitution. But remember, the opportunities are also very high, because once your product gets accepted by a design firm or a builder, you've got the potential for a long-time relationship of repeat business. So in closing, let me share with you my specification for avoiding substitutions. First is, take a long-term view of the results you want to achieve. Educate your market to understand the unique features and benefits of using your product. Build relationships based on product knowledge and sales professionalism. Follow a project through all the phases and deal with all the decision makers. Provide people the type of information they need at the time that they need it. Know your product, know your market, and be an honest consultant. You know, this specification, it's a performance specification. And performance specifications are not easy to interpret or enforce. This specification will require you to work hard and persistently. But if you want to avoid substitutions, there is no other way. There is no or equal.
Building Design and Construction wants to thank Mickey for his comments and you for your attention. We hope you feel this time has been well spent. We also hope Mickey's comments help you to hold that specification, to make that sale. Because that's what this is all about, making the sale. Good luck and good selling.